So a few days ago, Capcom released their fiscal year earnings report for the year 2025's first half. And during that first half period, which encompasses April to September, I was surprised to see that the number one game wasn't Monster Hunter, which just had Wilds release. So I'm figuring that got to be doing crazy numbers right now. And it is. It sold over 10 million already, but it wasn't that. It wasn't that. Again, between April and September 2025, it wasn't Monster Hunter. Resident Evil, brand new games coming out. You would think, yeah, a lot of people are going to be playing Resident Evil now, getting ready for the new game, but it wasn't that either. Street Fighter just had their latest game, which is getting consistent content. They just had that game drop on the Nintendo Switch 2, which is a super successful console, and it ain't that. It was Devil May Cry. Hell, 4 and 5. But the fact that Devil May Cry 5 was number one was wild to see, because it's not like it's a brand new game. Is it the latest entry in the series? Yeah, but it's not a brand new game. So why is this? Because I was surprised. Why is this? Well, all signs point to the Netflix anime. Yes, Capcom taking their IP out of the gaming medium and going into the cinematic film, anime world, the world of streaming and all that, and hitting up that audience, caused that audience to become so infatuated with the IP and loved it so much that they wanted to spend more time in these worlds. And what's the best way to do that on this planet? Video games. So instead of rewatching the show over and over, they're probably doing that too. They said, let me get these Devil May Cry games. And of course, the latest ones are going to be the best-selling ones, even though the whole series is pretty much accessible on all modern hardware. It makes sense that people would go to the latest entry because they're going to expect it to play the best, look the best. And it's the latest one. It's right there, you know? So it's cool that Devil May Cry 5, which is a good game, is going to be probably the, I don't want to say majority of the IP's fan base, but clearly the new audience that the IP has found that's now coming to the games, that's going to be their first Devil May Cry game. Hopefully they like it enough and they go back and play the rest of the series. And then when the new entry comes out, they're there day one, and it could be the biggest, launch for the Devil May Cry game ever. And that'll be because they had multiple seasons of the show, and that synergy between, film and gaming worked. Which brings me to Splinter Cell. Anime for that just came out, right? A game should be around the corner, or it'd be just interesting to see if during the next, financials for Ubisoft, all of a sudden you start seeing Splinter Cell games pop up. Because if this stuff is working, in particular, not even talking Mario movie or film, live action adaptions that go well, like we saw with the show with Fallout, right? That made all Fallout game sales basically rise that were available on modern hardware. Like we've seen it with, I'm talking anime, specifically anime and animation, is maybe finding an audience that's more connected to gaming, but maybe never just played those games. So that anime is actually turning more of them into gamers versus, let's say, the live action movie. I say live action, but the big theatrical releases and the live action shows. So like the big Mario movie or Fallout. If the animes is actually basically flipping more people into gamers, that's going to be super interesting. Well, to the whole point of, this whole topic that I'm having right now. But there's another one that I got to mention, because we just had, Castlevania have a bunch of awesome seasons of anime on Netflix also, just like Devil May Cry, but there was no game to basically feed off of the hype. Maybe sales went up of old Castlevania games, but even those, I don't know, because it's like, how many Castlevania games are easily accessible right now on modern hardware? I don't even know. But the point is, there wasn't nothing new there. If Splinter Cell, if there even is like a raising of the tides of old Splinter Cell games, right? If they don't got nothing cooking, what a shame to say, yeah, let's greenlight an anime, but then not make a game so that there's synergy between the two things. That's wild. There's another Devil May Cry game being made. So you can't really blame Capcom for dropping the Devil May Cry game and be like, yeah, let's keep the IP rolling. We're going to have for a few years between, games take man long to make. Between those 5 years, we got this anime. We got multiple seasons and the new game comes out and hopefully that game will sell better due to the anime. It's clearly working right now with Devil May Cry. Will it work with Splinter Cell? Will it work with Tomb Raider? Will it work with Castlevania? Because Tomb Raider got an anime too. And there's a game, I don't know, is it still in development? There was a game in development or is a game in development. When that comes out, if they put out a collection of the old games and blah, 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 well, those are easily accessible too on modern hardware. We got to check to see, in the physical year reports for those, the Crystal Dynamics report, sales went up after the anime. Because if it's doing that, then that's a good sign. And it brings me to the main point of why you're probably watching this. Look, for years, I got to say multiple times because it's true. I've said Nintendo should be making animations and things like that. I've said it already back-to-back years. My patron who listens to me all the time, they know I've said it. There should be a Fire Emblem show that's your equivalent to your Game of Thrones, right? There should be a Metroid live-action movie or anime, you know what I mean? But there should definitely be a live-action movie since the synergy between Giga and all of that, to finally see it come full circle and get that live action movie and be something super, beautiful, epic, but also incredible science fiction would be a dream come true. Obviously, live action Zelda, like Lord of the Rings and things like that, always wanted that. That's happening now. I'm excited. The director who they got in there, I'm excited. So we got the Mario movies. We getting Mario Galaxy now. I'm beyond excited for that because I loved the last Mario movie. I can't wait to go see Galaxy just to see the teaser trailer to the Zelda movie. You know what I'm saying? We are in an exciting time. Now, Nintendo greenlit a game one day. A game that, unlike their other IPs, would include voice acting, cinematics, and a budget that was going to be pretty high and wasn't going to be made in Japan. These are a lot of things that are different from the usual for Nintendo. But they was like, yeah, we're going to do that. That thing that we did in the past and didn't generate 5, 6, 7 million sales ever. Yeah, we're going to do that again. And then we waited. What was it? About 8 years? And we waited. And we waited. And it seems like between that time, Nintendo basically said, we gave the green light. We gave the funds for the game, and then they sat on their hands. And that's a shame, because Nintendo got Nintendo Pictures and all this stuff happening at the time. Mario movie happening at the time. Clearly, there was talks and things going on behind the scenes about, Zelda got to be one too. Because whenever there's talks about Nintendo doing anything new ventures, there's always going to be talks of Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda. When you talk about Nintendo in their first conversation about mobile games, what did they talk about? Mario Run, Pokemon and Pokemon Go's and things like that. And they mentioned what? A Zelda game. We didn't get it. We got Fire Emblems and all these other different games, but they mentioned it, right? So when they going into film, Zelda, of course, is in the conversation, and now it's already happening. There's cameras rolling more than likely, or about to be rolling. There's definitely work being done. You and I both know this. And when it came to Metroid, they just sat on their hands. There was no conversation, no funds towards, let's make an anime, let's do something outside of this medium in order to grow this IP, to have something that can maybe catapult. Imagine if this summer we watched on Netflix. Remember there was Pokemon live action show and all that they was talking about, similar to the One Piece show coming to Netflix, that was going to be a gym training adventure show like the original anime. Whatever happened to that? We got the little, Pokemon, what is it, like stop animation cartoon that they got there, which is a cute little thing. But where's the anime at? Where's the Splatoon anime? You could do concerts for that, but no anime. But that's beyond the point. That's an actual game that every single one sold over 10 mil. But we're not talking about Splatoon right now. We're talking about Metroid. You took the time to do this. You could have had a Metroid show come out on Netflix, an anime. And people could have watched it and be like, damn, Samus Aran is cool as hell. And it's like, man, I want to play something. Well, we just dropped the remastered and we got Prime 4 coming out at the end of the year. And that could have made Prime 4 sell even more. That could have been the best commercial for Prime 4. You know what I mean? It would have damn sure been a lot better than the trailers that we've gotten up to this point in terms of advertising this game and getting people to actually play the game. And look, this is not something where it's like they missed the boat. Clearly they didn't, because Devil May Cry came out after the show, came out after the game. And the game is selling now, and it's years old. Maybe it's because it's cheaper, which it is. You know, it's probably $20-something or whatever the case may be. But still, the point is that you get people familiar with an IP. And the easiest way to do that is through film. It's through the cinematic medium. Because people sit down and don't got to use their hands. The same way Nintendo decided not to when it came to planning things around the zeitgeist of Prime 4. I mean, who knows? Maybe 1, 2, 3, and the 4th, you know, Prime 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th, Prime 4, that release schedule can actually happen. It'd be crazy if it did, but it could, right? Like I was talking about previously. But let's be honest, that's just fanboy cope right there. That's just fanboy hopes and dreams. The reality is it feels pretty clear that they didn't really not think it through. They just didn't think about, considering doing anything around this game. Could you imagine? Yeah, the anime coming out in the summer would have been cool. But if it didn't, could you imagine if they right now put out a press release, Netflix saying, yeah, we're doing the Metroid, animation. Imagine it was further along and they could have actually showed a trailer right now for that animation and it was coming out like in March or April. That would be a big deal. Or even if it was coming out next summer, they could have DLC for the game, so it could just be synergy at the same time. The same time you're seeing animation ads for the Metroid show, you're seeing gaming ads for Prime 4 DLC. You know, these things could have still been, and they still could happen, but they could have been so intertwined in their in the rollout of everything, the animation and the game. It would have been really cool. You know, Fallout, there's gonna be another season this December, and they got a remaster of a remaster of a remaster, which is the most remastered, and yeah, that's happening. They at least did something, you know, around that time. And it's sad because I read every Metroid manga from the manga, the original, and the Nintendo Power Metroid Prime one, you know, all of these different things. And it's not a lot. Seeing Samus and cool animations in Smash Brothers feels good, but it's not a lot. And when you look at Nintendo's catalog, it's like we don't need a slow trickle of like, oh, we're going to make this movie and then this movie. It's like, no, you could have a cartoon of Star Fox. I would watch the hell out of that. And that could be for a younger demographic, you know, far younger. And then you could have the film or even a season, you know, that's more mature, Metroid. And that's not like rated M or nothing like that. Then you can have Xenoblade. And if you wanted to make that rated M, you know, like TV-14, you could do that, you know, or with Fire Emblem. But there's so much IP that they have. And Zelda's one too, where it's like, yeah, you could do a Wind Waker cartoon right around the same time the Zelda live action movie's coming out. And then you could say, yeah, tell audiences that's the same universe. And we, as gamers, will understand it is because there's different length, different timeline. They just showing us this Wind Waker story, and the movie is Ocarina of Time. So just know that this Wind Waker is after that. So if you want to see the sequel, basically watch the cartoon, and then people will get it. You know, and they don't need to get it. They could just watch and just enjoy both for what they are. You know, different things but the same IP. You see it with Jurassic Park, the Netflix cartoon, and all that. Like it could work. And the thing is, they just got to do it. They just got to put in that work to do it. And Nintendo, with Nintendo pitches, like, yeah, they got to be quick. I'm like, stop wasting time making Pikmin shorts. It's like, hey, let's make them invisible, and then let's make them where you can see them. And actually, that could have been something for Metroid. And it's like, yo, you just want everything for Metroid. It's not even like the fanboy in me, you know what I'm saying? Like, at all. This is like genuinely, like, you taking the time to make this game after 18 years of us not getting the actual Prime game. You know what I'm saying? A console, full-blown Prime game. I'm not talking Federation Force or nothing like that. A Prime game. And it's like you ain't even trying to do nothing different around its release to hopefully make it sell more. That's weird. There's no kind of pushback that you can give me that's going to be in any way resemblance of anything other than just, I don't know, defending not getting content from Nintendo for reasons, which is weird. Because again, they had years They could have made a movie and 2 animes in the time that they took, to make Prime 4. In a different timeline, they could have did all those things and had the IP on way better footing than what it is right now. And Drake would have came out and would have did even better than what it did because it had all these other things and all these people who don't usually play. Look, we know people play 2 video games a year. 2 video games a year. And one of those is probably a sports game. So the reality of people consuming all these other different video game IPs and things like that is very slim to small chance of it actually happening on a larger scale. They need something to nudge them to it. And a trailer at a gaming show isn't going to be enough. They need you to meet them where they usually are so that they then go, oh, you know what? I consume video games. I like playing GTA. I like playing Call of Duty. I like playing insert superhero game. Arkham, Spider-Man, upcoming Blade, Wolverine. I like playing Madden, NBA, WWE, like sports game, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, look how rigid what they play is. Oh, this Elden Ring thing is getting a lot of buzz. Let me try that. Oh, this Breath of the Wild thing. Let me try. And it's like these one games get inserted every few years, but for the most part, it's the same thing. It's Call of Duty, sports game. So if you need to go out of your way to meet them where they are in order to say, hey, look at this thing. Look how cool it is. Oh, man, this universe is crazy. Oh, my God, this big giant dragon destroyed her planet, killed her parents. Oh, she's taken in. Oh, man, she's like a super soldier, almost like a Captain America thing going on here. Whoa, and then, you see her in the Federation. You see her be like, nah, screw the Federation, and then go do her own thing. They could do that all in one season of a show, 10 episodes. And by the time it's over, they could go through 1, 2, Super, all in one show. You know what I mean? And show this character's growth. And audiences will be like, damn, Samus is mad cool. And seeing her save the animals and then the whole place, blowing up, like showing her empathy for these creatures, even though she just ran through 10 episodes just destroying every creature she was seeing. It's like, nah, those were crazy. They were trying to attack me. These are cool. Like, I could see it. I could see what people see what this IP is. I could see them loving it as much as we do. And that's why it's like, damn, it's a shame that Nintendo hasn't pulled the trigger on that. But they don't gotta rush at the same time. I mean, listen, they do gotta rush. Goddamn, it's been too goddamn long where this IP hasn't been getting the love that many others from Nintendo got. But still, like when I say they don't gotta rush, I mean, it's not like they missed the boat, they missed their chance. No, there's still Metroid 6. There's still Metroid Prime 5, right? Guys, 5, 6, 7, guys, 6, 7. No, anyway, yeah, man. I just really wish that we was in a timeline where there was a little bit more, and I think every Metroid fan will agree with this, where there was a little bit more. Damn, oomph is not even the word because it don't even feel like there's oomph even right now. Like, I wish there was a rocket attached to this IP and what Nintendo's doing with it right now. Because right now it just feels like, I don't know, it's like a paper plane versus the rocket that every other IP is. You see what they did for Animal Crossing right now, right? And you seeing what they're doing with other people's IPs. Like Capcom's getting a Pro Controller. Capcom's getting amiibos for their games now. Metroid's getting amiibos too. We haven't seen the Pro Controller yet, but there could be one, But if there is one, this still goes to my point. We are a month away. These are things that we should already have answers to, that we should already be able to pre-order. We've seen pre-order incentives around the world. But here in North America, what we got? Like, when you get to the root of it, it goes even beyond, like, just hoping and wishing for them to expand with this IP and just, like, it would have been nice. And listen, I got content going back years talking about this and saying, like, it'd be nice if when they did Metroid Prime 4, they just said, look, if we're going to do this and put all this money behind this game, we should just put money behind everything on this IP and just do one major push. And if that don't work, it goes right where Star Fox is right now, right? Where Pilot Wings is right now, right? You know the goddamn place, the Lost Woods. And it'll be there wandering. And maybe it'll find its way out of the Lost Woods and we'll get another one 10, 20 years from now. But for the most part, it'll be right there with Star Fox, Morphballing its way through dodging barrel rolls as they try to figure out how to get out the Lost Woods. It's a damn shame. I hate the game in Lost Woods. It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. But I always felt like with Metroid, if you're going to do Prime 4, you might as well take that chance. That's the kind of chance I wanted. Full haymaker. This is what we're going to do. And if we fall on our face, we fall on our face. But it's okay, because we're going to try. Because if there was ever an IP that deserved it, I don't think there's anyone more deserving than Metroid. Period. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I wish Nintendo had an anime. I wish that what's happening for Devil May Cry right now was happening for Metroid right now. I wish that we were seeing when Switch, sales charts pop up, Metroid Dread there. Why? Because the show just aired in July. So now it's selling like crazy, and Nintendo had to rush to make that 4K, 120 frames per second version of Metroid Dread with brand new boss rush bosses that, I don't know, somehow maybe get tied into the single player. But anyway, they ain't even got to do it. I just make it, pretty for the damn Switch 2. It's there, and people would have been picking that up, going crazy, and then Prime 4 has all this buzz, and all the talk is like, yo, the anime, the game sales, as we get the Prime 4. Instead, what's the conversation, y'all? We just want to know. We just feel like we wandering right now. We literally in the map screen, it feels like, in the Metroid game. And we just twisting it, flipping it, zooming in, zooming out. But we can't click to get out of it and see the game. We just in the map screen, waiting. Just waiting. We've seen little glimpses. But goddamn, we need more. We need more. So yeah, that's my thoughts, man. I just wish that Nintendo will leverage, you see what I said? Not would, will leverage this IP at some point, and maybe they need Prime 4 to be a success after the success that was Dread, to really prove to them that, okay, these people showed up for that one. They showed up even more for this one. Now we can decide to greenlight a movie or whatever the case may be, anime. Listen, again, that's just fanboy hope right there. But, well, I'm a Metroid fan. And boy, do I wish they was doing more with the IP. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't, please do. Screw attack that like button. And screw attack that subscribe button. And I'll see you on the next mission. Peace.